Director Tim Brown is here joining us. Tim, I don't see you.
Good morning. Well, I'm actually, you can see me if you want to. I'm boarding a ferry. So
Oh,
I'm a
Oh,
little,
that's
I'm a little
great.
off the beaten path today. It's I'm adding an extra layer of excitement.
Oh, this is great. I love it. I love it. You're boarding a ferry while you are doing an interview on a live cast on YouTube.
Yes. Well, we need to keep going through life, regardless. But yeah, there you go. Boarding a ferry.
You're literally on a, where are you? Like what city?
I'm in Victoria, in Vancouver Island, and I'm boarding for Vancouver.
Sweet. All right. Well, Vancouver, I hear there's a lot of good bars and clubs there.
Yes, I wouldn't know that because I'm much older and don't go to bars and clubs anymore. But I've heard rumors that there are bars and clubs there of note.
Oh, I hear exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you meant by that. But let's get right to it. The retirement plan is out. Got a review from Alan Ng, my partner here on the Film Threat website. It was on the front page, I think yesterday, the day before. It got a positive this morning. First of all,
cool.
Congratulations. Awesome.
Thank you.
Nicholas
Thanks,
Cage. Nicholas Cage is a genre of cinema. I think we can all agree on that. How did you convince Nicolas Cage to be in the film? Was it the script? And then tell us what it's like to work with Nicolas Cage.
I think it was probably mostly the script. I believe, I assume his manager gets many scripts a week, so I think he has a choice. I think what drew him to this were two main aspects. Were I think the comedy, and which is really not. It's not a comedy. It's an action film that I always like to say. My tongue was in my cheek the whole time, and I was always sort of making fun of the genre itself. So I think Nick kind of got what I was trying to do. I mean, I'm a Shane Black wannabe probably. So I love films that are irreverent that way and have this, strange sense of comedy at the wrong time, inappropriate time. So I've always kind of I lean towards that, and I think that drew him to it. And the aspect of family, I think he was drawn to. He's a big fan of Kurosawa. He's a big fan of some other filmmakers in Asia that I think have strong family thematic overtones to them. And I think that's what those are the two things that he said that he enjoyed. And of course, he said he really liked the script, but I don't know if he actually did like the script. He said he did, though.
Well, I mean, this is like pure like what Nicolas Cage like thrives in, right? It's this mix of unhinged comedy, but also action. Like, can you tell us like what's it like to like work with Nick? Is there anything you can tell us that maybe people would not know about Nick Cage? I've been fortunate enough to interview him a couple of times when I worked at G4 TV, interviewed him at some junkets. What the one thing that struck me about him, his passion. He's so passionate about everything he's doing, and he is a legit nerd. I mean, it's very famously, he has a copy of Action Comics #1. He wanted to play Superman. But is there something you can tell us about Nick Cage that would surprise us, having worked with him now?
Well, I think you use the word nerd somewhat, but he's a real cinephile. His encyclopedic knowledge of film history and filmmakers, and he obviously comes from a family of royalty in that world. So he must have grown up around it, and then he took his own course in things he was attracted to. But he's consumed cinema as a viewer, and he loves film, and I think we connected on that. But I don't know if anyone is aware. I mean, we all hear Quentin Tarantino can tell you who Kurosawa's art director was, and I don't think Nick's far off of that mindset. He really understands not only the thematic message behind a lot of cinema, but he gravitates to a lot of stuff that I think many people might not gravitate to. So he introduced me to a lot of amazing stuff from the some older films, and so I would introduce him to a couple of things. One of the films that we had talked about, I'd recommended him to watch Uncle Buck, because first of all, I'm a massive John Candy fan, but there's a scene where Macaulay Culkin is peppering him with questions, and I said, and John Candy says, "We ask a lot of questions." He says, "I'm a kid; it's my job." So to me, that scene with Sarah when they're eating, when he first meets her, she starts peppering him with questions, and I said that scene is sort of an homage to to John Hughes and to that only kids can ask questions, and then, you know, ask questions that are kind of weird. And so I wanted to embrace that. And he hadn't seen the film, so I was pretty surprised. But and then he would send me things like the Scarlet Pimpernel, a Leslie Howard film from the 30s, and, you know, we would discuss how that. But what really is his work ethic is yes, is passionate, but the work ethic is second to none. The man works exorbitantly hard, not just project by project and been keeping busy, but because he truly loves to work. But he really dives into the character, and the effort that he puts in before we shoot is pretty mind-boggling. So he's a tremendous collaborator.
Can you talk about his character development? You know, like did you have
Yeah.
discussions about that, or did he just kind of
Oh,
show up?
ad nauseum. So I wrote about a 5-page biography on his character, where he was born, where he went to school, how he was raised. His parents were murdered in an incident, and his dad worked for the mob for a certain time. And so I had a whole backstory for him that led up to the point when he ends up at the Cayman Islands. And so I created Matt's history. So whether or not that's on him to use, it's just on me to provide. Uh, but I think what he does with a lot of his characters, and I've heard him talk about it before, and one great instance is he said that he draws upon other characters from other movies in the past to feed his character. I think he did it in with The Voice in Peggy Sue Got Married, which was a very definitive choice. Wasn't for everybody. He said I think it surprised some people when he started doing it, but including his uncle. But in this instance, and Woody Woodpecker for Raising Arizona. So he draws upon that, and I think one of those roles was this sort of Leslie Howard character, who's sort of a master of disguises in the film. And that's what we came to the conclusion in prep and talking about the show was this guy's an onion, and the outer layer is the Hawaiian shirt, drunken beach bum. But as you peel those layers back through the film, his true core is exposed. So every day we're on set, or depending on what day we're shooting and what point in the movie we're at, was determined. The only way we talk about would be, how much of the onion has been exposed to this point in time. And so we had our shorthand for that, and that was so his knowledge of cinemas is nuts, and I learned a lot and discovered some new things about how to look at a role, how to look at a character. But all the evolution of Matt came from a collaboration from the two of us, and by the time we were shooting the movie, there was very little conversation. I mean, we both knew what was happening, and he delivered every single time.
Great. We have over 500 people watching live on YouTube right now. So that's a reminder to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. But we have questions from our audience. Do you have time? I hope it's a long ferry ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can go for hours. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, here we go. First question from Greasy Guido. I have always wanted to know, do friends call him Nick or Nicholas?
I think pretty much everyone called him Nick. That would be, I don't, not pretty formal. No, I don't think anyone was calling him Nicholas. I know he's got other names from closer relatives, but everyone around him just called him Nick.
Gotcha.
And he was very easygoing about it.
Razorburn asks, Tim, I would like to know how you got Nick Cage, of all people, aboard. That's awesome.
It is awesome, and I think a combination of luck and timing, like anything in our business, I think you have to have a piece of luck and timing, and it hit him. He read the script. He must have enjoyed the script, and we were able to make a deal with him. So just, I firmly believe, regardless of the screenplay, it was, there's a lot of luck and coincidence, and we were filming in Cayman, so maybe he had an interest to go there. He had lived in Bahamas for a while, so getting back in the Caribbean might have been of an interest. So, yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly, but a lot of luck.
I feel like location has a lot to do with sometimes getting an actor to do something. Like, we're going to be shooting in Austin, or like fun cities that people like. It's an attraction. So, Solomon Thornton.
If it was downtown Michigan, he might not have come.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm from Michigan myself, so.
No offense to Michigan.
Yeah, no offense to Michigan. I'm part of the Michigan Mafia. Let's see. Solomon Thornton asks, what is your best approach for directing actors?
I think just having a really good understanding of character and never ever stumbling on any inquiries they have about that character. As a writer director, it makes that job a heck of a lot easier because there's not a question anyone could ask me about the screenplay that I didn't know. So that ability and that understanding, if and I communicate my vision to them very clearly, I think then it's a really good understanding. Every actor, I had 10 really phenomenal lead actors in this film, all of which have their own process, all of which have their own style, and all of which I need my own relationship. Like how I worked and interacted with Ernie Hudson was different than how I worked and interacted with Jackie Earl. So everyone has their thing, and I think you just get in early. And Chris Nolan talks about this a lot. He when he was casting, I think Matthew McConaughey and other directors have had that when they meet the actor they want to cast, they don't actually talk about the movie. They just want to see if they get along. And if they get along, then do we want to work together for the next year of our lives, every single day for a while? So I think a lot of it is just getting along with them, providing them the information, the tools they need to give their best performance, and then getting out of their way. That's really crucial.
Cool. And just a question about Ron Perlman. He,
Yeah.
boy, not just in like his performances, but in real life, he seems like a very angry, intimidating guy. Is that what he's really like?
No,
No, I'm
not in real
serious.
life. No, no, no. So am I. No, he's listen. I got to know Ron because he was on island, so we ended up playing some golf together. That's how I sort of got to know him before I cast him in the film. No, he's the greatest. If you're a fan of Ron Perlman, you bump into him in the street. He's the kind of celebrity that would be all the dreams come true. He's just a regular guy. He loves the everyman. I guarantee you, he'd rather have a beer with a plumber and an electrician than he would a politician. He's just a man. I call him a man of the people, and he really is. He really is that. He's a man of the people, and I think that myth around this sort of fierce monster of a guy. He's a sweetheart. So yeah, he was pretty good.
Question here from the nerd far away. Hail, Mr. Brown. Just for funsies, would you rather watch a movie or make a movie?
Make a movie. Make a movie. Make a movie. I'd rather make a movie than do anything else on earth. So yeah, that's an easy one.
And Nerd Far Away goes on to say, on a more serious note, do you prefer working with unknown actors or well-established actors, and why?
Well, when you work, yeah, I mean, the well-established actors bring something to the table that you don't expect. I found that with Bill Nye. I did a movie called Buckley's Chance with Bill, and he's a very traditional British actor. So the and I think he came from the stage. So these guys have this ability to to come in so prepared, and they treat your script like gold.
We had a question here from Jimmy Francis who asked, where in the Caribbean did you shoot I'm Half Barbadian?
Well, we were in the Cayman Islands the whole for the whole production. We actually lived there. They were COVID free, so we all lived there for about I lived there for about 6 months.
Wow. John Fiera asks, Flera, excuse me, John Flera asks, was there any Nick Cage performance that inspired you to pick him for the role?
Wow. No, no, it was him, himself knowing that he could bring Matt to life, but it wasn't that I looked at adaptation and thought, oh, he could be because of his role in that or in the million other role. I think he's done over 110 leading roles now. I've been a fan for my whole cinematic life, watching as an adult, watching Nick's movies. So I've loved him for a long time, but nothing in particular that drew me to make him Matt, other than just, I knew Nick would bring so much to the table.
Okay. Eric Stratton asked, did the near constant wind in the Caribbean Drive shoot your schedule off?
No, wind was no problem. Never really had a wind problem. The heat, however, we were shooting June, July, crazy hot, very, very hot. But the wind, no, no, never came up. Ha, that's a joke, by the way. It never came up. We had a
Well,
lightning storm
you
one
can
night, but that was about it. That stalled us for a bit.
you can read these questions if you can't see them. Let's see. Uncle Bernard says, how did you rehearse?
Ha! Independent film, sir. We didn't rehearse.
Retirement Plan is out on,
Oh, thanks, guys.
is it on video on demand in theaters, right?
In theaters, theaters right now only.
Yeah.
Old school.
Okay. Retirement Plan is in theaters now. Director Tim Brown joining us on the ferry.
Thanks, guys. So sorry about this.
Thank
Never
you,
getting on a
Tim.
ferry again.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Take care, Tim. We'll talk to you when your next film comes out. All right. Take care.
All right,
I
Thanks
will
again.
definitely reach
Later.
out.
Bye.